So, good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible? Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So, just ping up your friends who haven't joined the class to join the class immediately. So, until they just join, we'll just brief out what we had done in the last class. So, in the last class, we were dealing about what do you mean exactly by lubricants, what are its advantages, right? And also we dealt about the classification of the lubricants related to natural and the synthetic lubricants which are being made by man. And what is basically the need or requirement for the lubricants. We just dealt about some applications. So further to move on, we have to start up learning about different properties of the lubricants, how the effect of the properties of the lubricant vary with respect to temperature, pressure, all these aspects. So I hope the screen is visible to you guys. Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, fine. Thank you. So today we will be just dealing up with properties of lubricant. So before starting out with the properties of lubricant, one thing I want to tell you is I will be sharing an quiz at the end of the session when you have like around 10 or 15 minutes to wind up. So that will be the portion related to what we had studied in the last class. Means lubricant, the advantages, the classification of lubricants based on natural, organic, and finally the requirement for the lubricant, what is it. So based on it, 5 questions are already framed and posted. It is an objective one. It is in the Google Classroom already. So by 12:35 or so, you can just log into the quiz and attend. And at the last, I'll be taking the attendance. So this is for your information. So now let us start up with the various properties one has to think about when we are supposed to select a lubricant for particular application. So for all the application, it's not necessary that you have to go up with the same type of requirements of the properties. It varies, obviously, right? But in common, all the set of lubricants will have certain properties related to the list out part in our PPT. So one main property is our viscosity. Then you should know about what is viscosity index, what is the importance of fore and flash point related to the lubricant, how the relative density vary, the grade of the lubricant, finally the specific heat and thermal conductivity, the acidity and alkalinity of a lubricant, and how stable the given lubricant is with respect to oxidation, and finally the demulsibility and foamability. So these are all the properties of a lubricant, what you should be aware enough in order to select a proper lubricant with proper grade, or else the use of lubricant film will not be of much use in between the components which are moving for a longer period of time, because the main thing is it has to reduce the wear, the friction, and yield an high qualitative product without hampering the performance of the machine and its reliability also. So to keep all this in mind, it is very essential for the one to understand the various properties of a given lubricant. So let us start up with viscosity. So it is not a new word to you people, you know already what is viscosity. So in general, viscosity usually can be defined as a resistance for a normal flow. So as the viscosity increases and becomes thicker and thicker, the flow of the fluid in movement will be of a slow motion. That means to say that the viscosity of that particular fluid is high, and hence the rate of flow of the fluid is comparatively slow than that of a regular fluid. So why this resistance is there in the lubricant? That you should know. So this resistance is mainly due to the internal friction associated within the molecular phenomenon of that particular fluid. So why an internal friction results? Because the viscosity of a lubricant oil will diminish as okay, before that you should know, as the higher and higher thickness of the fluid, the flow will be less, and this is due to the internal friction which is coming across against the direction of the movement. It also depends upon the surface on which the viscosity of the fluid is been moving. So depending upon the internal friction associated, the pace of movement of that particular lubricant reduces. It mainly speaks about the phenomenon of studying the molecular aspect of that particular lubricant. Okay, so it goes into depth into chemistry. No need to think about so much. You just keep one thing. When you hear the word of viscosity, it will be having a resistance to flow. So depending upon the grade and thickness, the resistivity of the flow will be coming down. And this is mainly due to internal friction. So this is one main point you have to consider with respect to viscosity. The second aspect is when the lubricant oils are subjected to high temperature, the viscosity gradually comes down. Okay, so this is because, can anyone tell me the reason why the viscosity of the lubricant reduces as the temperature increases? You people have studied all these things, just a combination of all into a single subject called tribo. Can anyone tell me why the lubricant viscosity parameter reduces at high temperature? Any reason? You have to tell me. When the temperature is subjected to higher temperature, what happens to the condition of the fluid there? If you are not interactive, it is not good on your part. You should be able to answer me. It is not a new subject what you are studying. As the temperature increases, right, so the fluid starts heating up and it can melt. So when it starts in melting stage, the thickness of the fluid gradually reduces. So higher the temperature, the thickness of the fluid comes down, and as a result, it will be as a normal fluid. And due to that, we can say that the viscosity of that particular liquid is coming down. Okay, so the viscosity of a lubricant mainly determines the thickness of the layer of oil between the metallic surface. So if a lubricant has very less viscosity, then it will be having a very thin film of layer in between the rolling components. So that might not be suitable for certain application when the metallic surface which is in contact has to be moved for a longer period of time. So based on the requirement, you should select the grade of the viscosity. Higher and higher the grade, lesser and lesser will be the viscosity thickness of that particular lubricant. So we can select the lubricant based on its viscosity level for which particular application we are using. So the most commonly used unit to measure viscosity is always in centistroke, okay, which can be in short referred to be as CST. So now let us put some light on how the parameters of the viscosity can be varied, okay, related to our lubricant. So now you can see a diagram here. So this represents a schematic representation for two parallel plates in relative motion. Okay, so you have two surface plates. So if we consider that the viscosity what we are using is about like Newtonian fluid. So in Newtonian fluid, what happens is it follows Newton's concept, in which even though you apply more and more force, pressure, the amount with which it is moving, the velocity, the viscosity remains the same. The flow will remain the same, right? So here we are now considering a Newtonian fluid for two surfaces. So you have one surface and the other surface. So it is separated by a film of lubricant of thickness h. So you have a top surface and you have a bottom surface which is having an moment in rolling movement continuously. So in between you are using an fluid film of thickness h. Okay, so with this, when you have a contact of rolling elements, so it will be moving with a relative velocity in linear motion. So we represent that as u. Right, so now the shear stress comes into picture. So why it comes into picture? You are applying some force per particular unit area. So the force upon area will give you the shear stress, and this shear stress will be always proportional to the shear rate with which the velocity gradient. So this is the velocity with which it is moving. So if you need a velocity gradient, du by dy. So this is our x and this is our y. So the moment du by dy will always provide us the velocity gradient of a particular film in contact between the two rolling components. So with that, we can just define the shear stress to be as force upon A. So this can be reformulated into mu into du by dy. So your mu will represent an absolute or dynamic viscosity of that particular lubricant. Okay, so hereafter shear stress would be equal to mu into du upon dy, which is our dynamic viscosity of a particular lubricant. And second thing what you have to understand is, if the velocity is a continuous function of a film thickness and there is no slip at all in between the interface moment of the film, then the solid surface will be always equal to, you will replace du by dy is equal to u upon h. So what do you mean by u upon h? Please understand the sentence. You have a fluid, viscosity, lubricant flow between the two rolling components of a particular distance h, and if it is flowing continuously with a uniform thickness h, it is flowing continuously with a particular velocity, we represent that as u, and with a common thickness of h, then we can have the relation du by dy could be replaced upon u upon h. So we will change the shear stress equation here. So tau will be equal to mu, this is equal to not minus, tau is equal to mu into, in place of du upon dy, we can use u by h. So any lubricant which is obeying the law of Newtonian will follow this. So the shear stress will be directly equal, will be proportional to the velocity with which it is moving for a particular thickness of the film, what it is formulated between the rolling components, and mu will be nothing but the dynamic viscosity value of that particular lubricant. So this dynamic viscosity value varies depending upon the lubricant what you are selecting. So this is applicable only for Newtonian type of lubricant, not for non-Newtonian type of lubricant, because in non-Newtonian type of lubricant the viscosity will change. Okay, so if you apply force, the viscosity with which it is flowing will be changing. So you don't have a constant viscosity even though the applied force is different. Okay, so in Newtonian type of lubricant, the viscosity remains same irrespective of the force or pressure applied. Whereas in case of non-Newtonian lubricant, if you apply more pressure, the viscosity with which it is moving can be varied. Okay, so this is a difference what you have to know between a Newtonian fluid and a non-Newtonian fluid. So now, after understanding the shear stress and the equation for a dynamic viscosity, you should also put some light on the unit. Usually the unit of height, h, will be referred either in terms of poise, yeah, in terms of Reynolds number, yeah, in terms of pascals. Okay, so conversion unit you should be knowing. So conversion unit for 1 Reynolds will be equal to 68,750 poise, or 1 poise could be converted into Pascal, so which is equal to 0.1 Pascal. Okay, so these are the unit what you have to understand. So after this, another measure of viscosity could be done in terms of kinematic viscosity. Okay, so this was for dynamic viscosity what we dealt. And if we need to evaluate the kinematic viscosity, so the equation what we'll be using will be equal to mu upon rho. So that mu will be nothing but our absolute viscosity upon the density of the lubricant what we are using. So even here the unit what we use will be in terms of centistroke or CST. So this is a regular equation what we use to calculate the absolute viscosity as well as the kinematic viscosity. So there will be a small change here. In the kinematic viscosity, you see that there will be no velocity gradient parameter here and even the height, right? So it will be just based on the density of the lubricant and our absolute viscosity related to the kinematic aspect. So this is a simple thing. If they ask you about the viscosity, you should tell what is it, how it is measured, And with respect to the Newtonian and non-Newtonian concept, how you can derive the equations for the measurement of dynamic viscosity or kinematic viscosity. So after this, you should understand what is the effect of temperature, pressure, shear stress on the viscosity level of a particular fluid, of a particular lubricant, which is moving between the contacting surface. So first of all, you should understand that viscosity of a lubricant mainly depends upon the temperature, the pressure applied in most of all the cases, related to the shear strain rates, which is essential. So it again speaks about the intermolecular forces here. So the viscosity of the liquid is mainly obtained due to the intermolecular forces which comes into picture. So you have a fluid, it has n number of molecules made up of, and there will be some intermolecular space in between, which gets varied, which get compressed depending upon the force applied or pressure applied. So due to this variation, some properties of the lubricant keeps on varying. So that you have to understand. Suppose if the temperature is increasing drastically, what happens? The liquid starts expanding. Okay, when it expands, what happens? The intermolecular distances also increases. So when it expands, even the distance, suppose you have molecules tightly packed when it is at room temperature. So when you started heating, the liquid will melt, means it expands. So due to expansion, the space between the molecules keep on increasing. And due to the increased distance between the molecular space, the amount of intermolecular forces which was there among themselves will start decreasing. And as a result, this results in the fall of the viscosity level. I told you already, when the temperature increases, the thickness of the viscosity comes down. Why? I told you it melts, and due to the melting, the thickness of the fluid reduces. But why it reduces? Due to the gap between the intermolecular space. And due to gap between the intermolecular space, the force associated between different molecules will decrease. Due to the reduced force, the fall in the viscosity. Clear? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, so related to this and mathematical expression for viscosity temperature relationship in any fluid can be derived. Okay, so here you'll be having a relation between the viscosity and temperature for any type of oil. It is not only associated with natural oils, it could be a synthetic oil also. So expressing a mathematical relation between viscosity, how it is varying with respect to temperature and pressure, will provide us an arbitrary system for comparison. So this could be done with the help of viscosity index. So hereafter, viscosity index can also be represented in short called as VI. Okay. And I've told you already, lubricants can be mainly classified into two categories. One is Newtonian and non-Newtonian fluid. So this classification is mainly based on the relationship between the shear stress and the shear strain which is being induced. So you can just take an example where you are applying a lubricant between the cylinder liner and the rings. So it tells you about how the shear stress and shear strain keeps on varying with respect to the applied pressure or the load. In case of Newtonian fluid, the viscosity remains same irrespective of the applied pressure. So you can say that the shear stress is directly proportional to the shear strain. And in case of non-Newtonian fluid, what happens is the viscosity starts increasing when you increase the pressure applied or the load. Where it will not be directly proportional, they'll keep on varying. So it can be proportional to some time, and later it can start shooting up. Okay, so with respect to that, we have an equation here to measure the viscosity index. So here the viscosity index is measured as L bar minus X bar upon L bar minus H bar into 100. So what are these parameters? Okay, see, all here the viscosities are measured at room temperature at 38 degrees Celsius with as a reference. So viscosity at 38 degrees Celsius, I'll just show you the graph, you will understand. Okay, so this is a method of calculation of the viscosity index. So you can see here, it is the room temperature at 38 degrees Celsius and it is the temperature at 100 degrees Celsius. How the kinematic viscosity is varying, right? So this is the parameter. So you should know the meaning of L bar, X bar and H bar. Okay, so what do you mean by H bar over here? So I have told you here the viscosity at 38 degrees Celsius of the sample oil. So see the graph here. So this is the H bar. Okay. So this is the viscosity of a sample oil at 38 degrees Celsius with VI value equal to 100. Okay. So if you want to measure the value of X bar, so it will be the viscosity of the oil at 38 degrees Celsius for the given sample oil. You are not considering the VI equal to 100 or VI equal to 0. It is just the viscosity of the oil at that particular temperature, 38 degrees Celsius. That value of kinematic viscosity will be referred as X bar. And second is the viscosity of the same sample oil at VI is equal to 0, at viscosity index is equal to 0. So that value will be represented as L bar. So if you consider the viscosity of the oil at 38 degrees Celsius with VI value as 100, then you get the viscosity index in terms of H bar. So finally, to get the overall viscosity index of a particular given sample, with respect to the parameters of VI is equal to 0 and 100 and just the test oil sample, you need to substitute all the values to the equation and multiply by 100. So that gives you the viscosity index of a particular lubricant. The same thing was represented by means of a graph over here. So after understanding the concept of viscosity index, how it changes with respect to temperature, we will go in depth. So after seeing this graph, what do you feel like? It has a variations at the room temperature to the high temperature, how you calculate the viscosity index. So viscosity index is basically a characteristics which is expressed on a conventional scale. Okay, so they will grade the values with respect to the scale what they are using from the room temperature to the higher temperature. The higher temperature can vary upon the requirement. It could be sometimes 50 degrees Celsius, it could be sometimes 100, yeah, 150, yeah, 200, depending upon in which application they are using the lubricants. So they'll just make a set of conventional scale. So based on the different scale, they will yield up with different characteristics for that particular lubricant. And usually this conventional scale is a standard one which is used by many oil industry people to indicate how the variation of the viscosity of a particular lubricant changes with respect to temperature. Because you should be aware of, we are just showing the minimum room temperature and the upper limit of the temperature. But if you put on adding the temperature scale here, 38, then again 40, 42, 44 until 100, you will come to know the exact values of H bar, X bar and L bar, how it is varying gradually, right? So as the temperature increases, the kinematic viscosity value also drastically comes down. I told you why? Because the liquid gets expanded and due to expansion, the intermolecules get separated. And due to separation, the intermolecular force between them also reduces, and as a result, the viscosity should come down. So if it has to come down, even the kinematic viscosity of that will be lower. So how it is gradually degrading, that you can understand if you put an characteristic graph of kinematic viscosity versus the temperature. That's what being explained over here. So we'll come to know how it changes with respect to temperature. So they'll be usually having a characteristic chart for each and every lubricant of different grades. They no need to sit and evaluate how it is varying, because all lubricants are in market It is associated with different grades. For this grade, how the viscosity index varies, until what temperature to what temperature you can use, how stable it will be, all those aspects, it will be there mentioned in the characteristic chart. And these are commonly used in all type of oil industries. Hope it is clear now, the importance of viscosity index. Or in other way, the viscosity index can also be defined as a measure which measures the variation with respect to change in temperature. Higher the level of the viscosity index, lower the variation in viscosity at that particular temperature. So this is vice versa, the same thing which has been given in a different common people understandable form. So after knowing the importance of viscosity index, you should know some concepts related to it. What happens is, if two lubricants with a viscosity of 40 degrees Celsius are considered, the one with higher viscosity index will guarantee the two aspects. One is a lower internal friction and high level of surface separation. Suppose if you are using the lubricant with the same viscosity at 40 degrees Celsius, but its viscosity index is varying. One is higher and one is lower. So one which has higher viscosity index will show a better engine startup even at lower temperature because of low internal friction associated with it. And second aspect is, as the level of the surface separation increases at higher temperature, I told you the viscosity comes down. So that is the second aspect what it make you to realize. So they will come to know the difference between the quality of the two lubricants which is operating at the same temperature but having different viscosity. Always higher viscosity will fetch you up in reducing the amount of friction, having a good operation with reduced friction and wear, and also to maintain the surface separation good enough in high temperature. Or else what happens, as the temperature increases, the material, the lubricant film melts and the viscosity comes down. If the viscosity comes down, the thickness of the film will be very less, and if the rolling component is moving continuously for a longer period of time, the friction can increase because of the reduced film in between the rolling components. This happens if the viscosity index is lower. It will not happen if the viscosity index what you are using is higher. Higher the viscosity index, it shows that it can withstand the temperature without melting, right? If it is not melting, means the thickness of the lubricant is maintained, means it has the stability to have a uniform thickness of the lubricant right from room temperature to that of higher temperature. So always you have to select the lubricant which has higher viscosity index than that of the temperature capabilities. So you can get this type of lubricants, both which can work at same degree. Suppose 40 degrees Celsius, you have two lubricants which can operate, but one's viscosity index is lower and others viscosity index is higher. In that case, you should select the lubricant which has higher viscosity index. So these are the two things what you have to keep in mind. So next is, how is the effect of pressure on viscosity? So this we were studying with respect to the variation in temperature. Next, you should understand how the viscosity keeps on changing with respect to the change in the pressure. So what happens when there is a change in the pressure? So when the pressure of a liquid or a gas is increased, what happens? So if you apply the pressure from both the directions, the molecules which are associated in the liquid will come closer and closer. So when it comes closer and closer, the intermolecular force also increases. When the intermolecular force increases, obviously there is a change in the viscosity, right? In case of temperature, it was the reverse. The molecules used to come away, and as a result, the force used to get reduced and there was change in the viscosity. Means there was reduction in the viscosity. In this case, there will be an increase in the viscosity value. So this viscosity of petroleum-based mineral oils increases rapidly with an increase in pressure. So the example for this particular type of viscosity is the mineral oils usually what we extract. So from mineral oils we extract different components. One is the petroleum, kerosene, and other components, right? So basically petroleum has this nature. So when you start applying pressure to it, so it viscosity level starts on increasing. So the viscous, as the viscous nature increases, you have different classifications of mineral oil. You have petroleum, you have petrol, you have diesel, and you have kerosene, different type depending upon the thickness of the viscosity what you are getting. So as the pressure increased gradually, the viscosity also increases. So this was being identified and an equation was proposed by a researcher called Baru in the year 1893, right? So the equation which was being proposed for this type of liquids were mu is equal to mu naught into exponential component of alpha into P. So what does this equation mainly deals about? So here it is written as H and H naught. It is not H and H naught, it is mu and mu naught. So here the mu and mu naught are the viscosities at particular pressure P. So it is above the ambient pressure, not below the ambient pressure and the normal atmospheric pressure. So here mu will be the viscosity at the ambient pressure P, and mu naught will be the viscosity at the normal atmospheric pressure. Okay, so you need to know the difference between the normal atmospheric pressure parameter and the ambient atmospheric pressure parameter. So from here onwards, we will refer mu and mu naught for the viscosities which are measured at the ambient pressure P and normal atmospheric pressure. So after that, we had other parameters called as alpha and P. So what are these two? So alpha will be the pressure coefficient of viscosity. Okay, so from here after it is measured in terms of meter square per Newton. And P is a normal pressure which is represented by P suffix A. So this was the first equation which was being proposed by Baru. So there was some complications in understanding the equation. So some fine tuning was being made in 1966 by other researcher called as Rollins. So he proposed an expression for representing the isothermal viscosity pressure dependence. So which fits better for the experimental data. So this can hold good for the theoretical doing and creating the mathematical modeling equations for the variables which can come across in practical way. And since it could not be understood easily and there were some complications, one more researcher derived an equation which is purely for experimentation aspect. So he derived in this way. Even this was not too successful. So he took the logarithm of the mu value plus 1.200 and yielded with some equation. So this could be better understood if an experimentation has been done. Even this did not work properly. And later, they used the equations which was being derived initially, previously in our, we had derived the equation for the viscosity at room temperature based on for Newtonian fluid. So here we have the equation mu upon rho, right? This was for our kinematic viscosity. So later they used this equation 1.3 and we have one more equation of 1.4. Yeah, this is also theoretical equation which was derived, and previously the equation what we derived for the viscosity for kinematic based of viscosity. So using these two equations, they combine to identify the value of the viscosity. So here they clubbed both and yielded with mu is equal to mu naught into exponential part of alpha into P plus beta into 1 upon T minus 1 upon T naught. So they use two different temperatures. So what are these? So this equation, you know, mu is equal to mu naught into exponential of alpha into P, and you have one more equation here. right? So here we have the viscosity is equal to mu by P. So from both mu was extracted and they combined these two, and finally they got this equation. This derivation concept is not there in your syllabus. You just say that 1.3 and 1.4 clubbing is being shown because you're just focusing on the properties of the viscosity. The design concept comes only in your module 2 and 3. So in module 1, purely the properties, how it is fetching, so that you should be understanding. Okay, so just the combination of equation 1.3 and 1.4 will yield with this equation. So if you write that much for the effect of pressure on viscosity, it is more than enough. So you should tell upon viscosity index how the effect of pressure takes place. So based on that, which are the equations which are proposed by different researchers. One is in 1893, he proposed an theoretical approach. In 1966, they proposed an experimental approach to determine the viscosity at variation in the pressure. Since both were not successful, later they followed the Newtonian fluid equation and the theoretical approach of Mr. Baru and yielded with an equation again to check it how the values keep on changing with the variation of the pressure. So this is the second part. And next is, you have to understand the effect of shear rate on viscosity. So what do you mean by shear rate? So viscosity of the fluid always varies as a function of the shear rate. And the branch of study always deals is nothing but called as a fluid rheology. Sometimes a good expertise lubricant professional, they speak about the fluid rheology, how the fluid rheology is varying, how the parameters of viscosity keeps on changing with respect to the shear rate. So all these things are usually studied in depth under the subject called as fluid rheology. Okay, so a fluid that follows the Newtonian fluid. So the equation 1.2 we have already in the very beginning slide. Okay, so we have determined the equation here, tau is equal to mu into U upon H, which obeys a Newtonian lubricant. So all these rheological fluid analysis is based on the Newtonian fluid studies only. So here the effect of shear rate on any fluid of the given lubricant is measured with respect to the Newtonian fluid, and the subject which helps in studying this concept is called as a fluid rheology. In case it is a non-Newtonian fluid, the viscosity starts varying with respect to shear rate, right? If it is a Newtonian fluid, it does not vary. It retains the same. So next, what should you know is the shear thinning. So what do you mean by shear thinning? It is a phenomenon in which the thinning of the fluid will increase the shear rate. If you thin out the thickness of the fluid, and then it helps in increasing the shear rate. So that happens when the lubricant is at higher temperature. When it is at higher temperature, the thickness of the fluid reduces. So when the thickness of the fluid reduces, what happens is there will be an increase, enhancement in the shear rate. So when there is an increase in the shear rate, what happens is it results in formation of many changes and many variations in the viscosity aspect, and that classification of the fluid we called as pseudoplastic fluid, because the variation in stress and strain comes across until the elastic limit and also in the plastic limit, depending upon the force or the pressure you are applying on that particular fluid which is used as a lubricant. So when the shear rate increases, obviously it reaches into the plastic fluid nature. So this is also called as pseudoplastic fluids. So this pseudoplastic fluid category of lubricant comes into picture wherever the thinning of the shear comes into picture, or the other word is the increasement or the enhancement in the shear rate. So as the enhancement in the shear rate increases, the viscosity value of it comes down, because obviously it thins out the thickness of the lubricant. At that stage, the condition of the fluid is called as pseudoplastic fluid. So if they ask you what do you mean by pseudoplastic fluid, you should be able to explain, and also at that condition how the viscosity value of it will be varying, that also you should be able to explain. If there is no thinning of the shear, then the viscosity remains same in case of Newtonian fluid. In case of non-Newtonian fluid, it keeps on varying. But if the thinning occurs, the viscosity comes down, the shear rate increases, and this stage will be called to be as pseudoplastic fluid. So this is what you have to understand. Okay, so when a shear stress is applied, the molecules usually tend to get aligned properly, and it results in reduction in viscosity. If when it gets aligned properly, it comes closer to closer, the molecular forces get increased, and as a result there will be reduction in the viscosity level. So if you just see the diagram here, after explaining this I'll stop. You have to attend the quiz. So here, depending upon the shear rate, you can see how the nature of the fluid is. In Newtonian, right, it will be directly proportional, the shear stress and shear strain. In case of dilatant, what happens is gradually it starts increasing. Initially it will be very less, then it starts increasing. In case of pseudoplastic type, okay, so it gets enhanced for a particular period and it remains stagnant. But whereas in Bingham plastic stage, it shoot out in the beginning across some y-intercept, then it gradually increases. So this is about the variation of the shear stress to shear rate for different types of available fluids related to the lubricants. And if you compare absolute viscosity with respect to the shear rate, you will be having again three categories. One is the pseudoplastic, one is the dilatant, and the Newtonian. So in case of Newtonian, as we told, the viscosity remains same even though you are increasing the shear rate. Irrespective of the type of shear rate you are increasing. Shear rate you get when you apply the pressure. So irrespective of the amount of pressure you are applying, the absolute viscosity of that particular lubricant remains same. In case of pseudoplastic, it starts decreasing with the increase in the shear rate. And in case of dilatant type of fluid, it starts increasing with respect to the shear rate. So this is the nature of the different fluid with respect to the applied shear rate. So based on the requirement and based on the type of application you need, you will select that particular grade of lubricant so that it helps in yielding a smooth flow of the rolling components with reduced amount of wear and friction. So this is about the characteristics graphs with respect to shear stress and shear rate, absolute viscosity and the shear rate. Now it is 12:36. I request next I will remaining I'll take in the next class. So now I request everyone to log in. Don't disconnect from the Google Classroom. I'll take the attendance only at 12:50. Please log into the Google Classroom and attend the quiz immediately. I have set it at 12:35, so you can log in and you have to complete within 12:50. If you submit after that, I'll come to know the lateral late entries. Please retain your names here. Just click to the Google Classroom, take the quiz and come back for the attendance sharp at 12:50. Don't log out before I call the attendance. And I can check the responses, how many are giving. Kindly do start.
Ma'am, is it enabled? It's not showing.
It's enabled. It's 12:35, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. I received one response already. Kindly see.
The quiz is not enabled, ma'am.
Is it working?
No, ma'am.
It's not there, ma'am.
It's there. I've shared it.
No.
Just 2 seconds. I've scheduled also.
Ma'am, you already got one response, huh?
Yeah, I received one response. Gautam Sai has also responded. No. They are submitting now quiz one. Just wait. Let me
Ma'am,
see
the
what.
quiz is not there. How will they submit now?
No. I got the response that was for tribology quiz one.
Great, ma'am.
Now they have submitted late now, so that won't be considered. It was for that day only. I thought that was a response for the second quiz.
Yes, ma'am. Now it's open.
Yeah. It was scheduled for 12:35. Fourth question has more than one answer. So you should identify all the natural organics which are essential for an lubricant. So there might be more than 2 or 3 answers. So you have to select all, or else you won't be getting full 1 mark.
Ma'am, it's not getting selected, ma'am, more than one.
Which one?
We can't
Fourth
select
question.
more than one, ma'am.
We
It's
can
not
select only
opting?
one, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay, fine. You just select at least one right one. But I have given the
Vegetable.
option for 3. I don't know what has happened. Yeah, I received one response now. During the quiz, I'll just call your attendance. Just answer me. Akhil KV, Anil Kumar,
Yes, ma'am.
Gautam Krishna. If you're not able to reply, kindly message Gautam Krishna. Gautam Krishna.
Ma'am, can we finish the quiz first, ma'am?
Okay, no problem. I'm ready to wait. Can you just see in fourth question, can you now check more than one box?
No, ma'am.
Yes?
No, ma'am.
No?
No.
Okay.
It's happening, ma'am.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
So you can tick more than one answer for the fourth question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Others be quick, only 7 responses till now. 8. Nine response. 10. 11. 12. 4 minutes to go for 12:50. Be quick. 13 response. हेलो हाँ क्लास में हूँ एक 5 मिनट्स खत्म होने के बाद Last 1 minute to go. I've received only 19 response. What about the others? 20, 21, 22, 24, 25. 27. 12:50 exactly. Be quick. I'll just call the names. Kindly answer. Akhil. Akhil. Reply in the chat room at least. Okay. Anil Kumar. Anil Kumar.
Yes, ma'am.
Gautam Krishna.
Present, ma'am.
Balaji.
Yes, ma'am.
Beldar Mohammed.
Yes, ma'am.
Chaitanya.
Yes, ma'am.
Chetan Kumar. Dheeraj.
Yes, ma'am.
Dhyanesh Kumar.
Yes, ma'am.
Yashant. Arshit.
Yes, ma'am.
Kanishka.
Yes, ma'am.
Gautam. Gautam. Okay. Kiran. Kiran, kindly respond. Kiran is marked absent then.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Kunal. Kunal. Okay. Megnath. Meghanatha. Okay. Meghana, sorry. Okay. Mohammed. Mohammed, kindly respond. Sri Prasad. Sri Prasad. Niharika.
Yes, ma'am.
Nikhil. Okay. Nirab. Nirab. Prajwal.
Present, ma'am.
Rishabh.
Present, ma'am.
Rohan Kagalkar.
Ma'am.
Roshan Yadav.
Yes, ma'am.
Suman Sagar.
Present, ma'am.
Sagar GV. Okay.
Present, ma'am.
Shiva Krishna. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Shiva Krishna.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Shreyas.
Yes, ma'am.
Siddharth.
Present,
Siddharth.
ma'am.
Both Siddharth. Siddharth B and Siddharth
Yes,
Sri.
ma'am.
Yeah. Srinivasulu. Mr. Srinivasulu.
Yes, ma'am.
Subramanya.
Present, ma'am.
Tirumani Setti Rohan. Vidyan Prakash.
Present, ma'am.
Vivian Varun.
Present, ma'am.
Pavan.
Present, ma'am.
Yogananda.
Present, ma'am.
All of you have responded. I saw responses only 33. What about the other guys? Please respond. You have marks for these as a part of your assignments. Kindly do response. 34 responses. Others, those who haven't done, please do it within 12:55. 5 minutes more is the upper limit. Before that, kindly submit or else it shows the late entries. So kindly see that you do submit within time. So any doubts you are free to ask, any clarifications related to today's class. So based on today's class, in the next class, we'll be having a quiz. Okay, so be ready. I'll just share the today's class audio links also so that you can go through it and be ready for tomorrow's quiz as well. So until then, take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.